So today we're going to talk about how to get unstuck, yeah? Because this is a big problem. I have people every week come to me and say, David, I'm feeling stuck in my life. And it's usually around a certain area of life, whether that's like relationships, whether they're feeling stuck in their relationships, whether they're feeling stuck within themselves, like they haven't got movement, whether they're stuck financially, whether they're stuck with their communication skills, whether they're stuck with their health. But there's usually one major area of life that they feel stuck with and they don't know how to move it. And the big problem with that is that it can go on for not just days or weeks or months, but it can actually go on for years, if not decades. And I have people come to me after like 10, 20, 30 years, like being stuck in the same pattern that they haven't been able to break. And the reason for that is because they're stuck in their head. Like, how many times do you hear that, David? I'm stuck in my head. Right, and they haven't yet moved and made that shift into their heart space and allow themselves to live their life from their heart in the world. And what happens then is that if they're feeling stuck, nothing starts to move, right? It's like if one area of their life is stuck, then it affects and impacts all other areas. And this impact can go on for, like I said, like days, weeks, if not months and years, decades. And if nothing happens, if you do nothing different, then you're going to stay stuck in that place yet again. And it requires a shift in consciousness, yeah? And I know this well because I've been stuck multiple times in my life. And the best way I can teach you how to get unstuck is to share a story with you. And I don't know what to call this story, but maybe I'll call it The Stuck Engineer. And it was probably about 9-10 years ago. I'd quit engineering. I decided to leave that world. I bought a bicycle, cycled across Europe, then came back to Australia, knowing that I was here to make a bigger difference. But I was stuck on, I didn't know how to actually make that difference. And I came back and I didn't have anywhere to live, so I lived with my parents again and moved in there. And after a week, my dad said to me, okay, David, so what's the plan? Like what are you going to do? And I looked at him, we're in the kitchen, and I said, well, I don't really know. And he said to me, well, you can always go back as an engineer. And I don't know, just the thought of that, like I knew that if I went back into engineering land, I was going to stay stuck in that for the next 30, 40 years. And I just got all emotional in that period of time in front of my dad, and I actually cried for one of the first times in front of my dad and said, I can't do it, because I knew at a deeper level that I was here to make a bigger difference. I had no idea what that was, but I knew that I was here to make a bigger difference in the world. So I didn't know what to do, but I started opening up this connection with my heart. So rather than like spend an hour a day meditating on my heart, I did a little ceremony with a candle and some incense and decided in that moment to commit to following my heart, like to do something different rather than get stuck in my head again, to make that shift into my heart. Did this little ceremony. And literally for the next couple of weeks, if not months, I was in my heart 24/7. Like by the time I woke up in the morning and opened my eyes, I went into my heart right through the day until it was bedtime, and I'd end with like a connective practice, a technique to stay in my heart when I went to bed. And during the day, I was doing the heart talks and writing them in my journal. I was following the pull of my heart. And there was this one time where I was like, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my vocation, And I didn't know, but I started writing that down in my journal, out from my heart, the messages from my heart. And it said very clearly, go to the newsagent, full stop, get a spiritual magazine. And I looked at it and I had no idea, and I was like, okay, well, let's give that a go. So I got in my car, drove down the newsagents, following my heart in the newsagent to the magazine stand, and didn't even look at the magazine, just reached out with my hand, picked out a magazine, with my eyes closed. Looked at it, it was some living awareness magazine, I forget the exact title. Didn't even look at the magazine, bought it, went back home, sat down in front of a candle, flicked through and opened to a page and looked at this page, and it was a guy living near Byron Bay doing exactly what I wanted to do. He was taking people out into nature and connecting them at a deeper level with the essence of who they are. And I was like, wow, this is exactly what I'm here to do, you know? So I didn't know, but I just got this pull to go and meet this guy. And I had no idea how that was going to happen. And so I felt the pull, felt into my heart, and it was to actually leave my parents' place. I had no idea how financially I was going to make that happen. But I ended up going up north and living on a community. It was like $30 a week to stay at this community. And I was eating mainly like vegetables and cheap food, that sort of thing, to get by, growing my own veggies for a period of time. And this whole world opened up because I was following my heart, and that stuckness of going back into the engineering world, no, life became an adventure, and I was in that for a few months. Met a girl, fell in love, moved into her place, which was up near Byron Bay, and we were living together for a couple of months at this stage, and I just got this strong pull to go and get Indian, and I don't generally eat Indian, right? And so I drove into Byron Bay, walked into this Indian restaurant, and as we went through the doors, I looked up at this table, and there's this man sitting there with his wife, and he looked exactly the same as this guy in the magazine article that I read a couple of months ago, that my heart said, you need to meet this guy. And because I'd followed the pull of my heart, it led to this synchronous experience. And I looked at my girlfriend at the time and whispered to her, I think that's the man, you know. So the pull was to go over, and my head was like all freaked out, like, who am I to like go up to this guy? But I went over anyway and let the words come out of my mouth from my heart. And they were, excuse me, are you the guy that wrote that article? And he said, which article? I told him about the article, and he goes, yeah, that's me. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I've got this strong pull to talk to you. And we had this amazing discussion. And it turned out that he was doing a mentorship program in the next couple of weeks on how to share your gift, like how to put a program out into the world. And it was quite expensive. It was $1,000, and I didn't have $1,000 then. And so what happened, it was a really strong pull, and I ended up getting a loan off my dad to pay for the course. Went into the course. It was a 6-month program. And during that 6 months, I started running workshops on this heart connection work, started generating an income, and that's when I started to share my gift, right? So it was practicing what I preach in the Head to Heart program. And that's how I get unstuck, is that I make that shift from my head. If I'm stuck on something, I'm like, the head goes round and round in circles, and you probably know that. Whereas when I tune into my heart, it gives me all the answers, because the head is so full of questions. It's like, should I do that? Should I not do that? Is this the right thing? What is going to happen? How can I make that work? It's full of questions. Whereas the heart is full of answers. It's like, go to the newsagent. Buy this magazine. Go up north. Live on this community. Fall in love with this girl. Go to the Indian restaurant. It's full of answers, you see. And this is how you can make the shift if you're feeling stuck in your life. And if that's what you'd like to do, there's literally 6 steps, 6 techniques to get unstuck, to make that shift from your head to your heart, and then live from your heart in the world. And if that's what you'd like to do, the next step is to book a call with me. It's called a Head to Heart session. And we get on this call for 45 minutes, and we get super clear on where it is that you're stuck, where it is that you'd like to be, and how we can get you unstuck, and these steps that you can take to get unstuck, and how I can be of help, how I can be of service for you. And the great thing about making that shift from your head to your heart is that all this stuck energy starts to free up. And then people that come into the program and they start following their heart, listening to the heart, speaking from the heart, living from their heart, they're like, David, I've got so much more energy. Why is this so? And I'm like, because you're not stuck in your head so much. You're again following the pull of life. There's a greater force that guides all things. It acts through your heart, and when you follow the pull of your heart, that's when magic happens. That's when all the synchronicity happens, and that's what I want for you. So if you're sitting on the fence and you're like stuck, you're sick of being stuck, you want to do something about it, you want to step into your potential and start living life and enjoying life, then book a call. Just book a date, a time. It's a short questionnaire. I receive that, then we get on my computer, on Skype, we connect one-on-one with each other, and it's a powerful call because it's going to get you unstuck. And the worst thing about being unstuck is that it blocks your energy. So people come to me with like anxiety, for example, and they've been in this anxiety state for like decades, and they're wondering why, and it's because they're stuck in this routine of their head that creates the anxiety. You know, likewise with depression, you know. And you can be highly successful and still be stuck in your head. But to me, true success is living a life that you love. So if you'd like to get unstuck, free up your energy, shift these areas of life that are important to you, then the next step for you is to book a call. So put in a date, a time, fill out the questionnaire. Literally that process will take like 2 to 3 minutes. And if you're feeling stuck around actually booking a call, then follow your first impulse, yeah? And if your first impulse is to book this call, then do it, because if you stay stuck, nothing's going to shift. And the reality is that your energy is going to get depleted. You're going to stay stuck literally for the rest of your life if you don't make a change. But right now, today is your time to do something different, right? And when you shift from your head to your heart, that's when all the magic, all the synchronicity opens up. So I encourage you to do that right now. Thank you for watching this video. Go book your call, and I look forward to talking with you soon.